Hi, welcome to Mercurious Being. I'm Amy Jensen, and I am here with your astro update for the summer solstice of 2023. So the sun is at the highest point in the heavens up here in the northern hemisphere, and this is a chart for the event. And again, wherever you are, it might be oriented a bit differently. So first day of summer coming up, June 21st, 9:58 a.m. Central Time. And I am going to have a couple offerings, and I'll have links below to them. The first of which will be a 10 a.m. free sound-based yoga practice, which is a practice of mantra and toning, and we'll be doing a peace mantra, Lokaha mantra. And then in the evening through Cambridge Isanti Community Ed, I will be doing a regular sound-based yoga practice from 7 to 8 p.m. And in that class, we'll be focusing on each of the chakras and the bija mantras for each one. So a really nice balancing practice for that. And for all of these practices, you will be hearing me, and everyone is muted. So it really is an opportunity for you to be able to just come and sing and experience resonance and vibration within the body. And just a cool way to experience sound and breath, and it just feels really good. And again, no one else hears you. I'm the teacher, so I am the one kind of putting myself out there with my voice, but it's not about performance. It truly is just about using your voice and finding resonance and feeling into key points within the body, feeling into our thoughts and our feelings, and whatever is alive within each of us. And through this practice, we get an opportunity to really come into this space where we can hold resonance and dissonance and non-judgment as we're doing so. So it really is this amazing opportunity to just feel what's alive again within us. And I guess I'm emphasizing feeling because as we enter the summer solstice, we're entering the 0 degrees Cancer, which is the sign of intuition. It's the sign about feeling and emotions. And it's symbolized by the crab, or the ancient symbol was the turtle, both of which carry protection with their shells, but inside are quite soft. It is the energy of having come past the first 3 signs, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and kind of the intuitive and experiential learning that happens during those 3 signs. And then in Cancer, we are evaluating and establishing how these things feel within us and how we can nurture ourselves and nourish ourselves, and how past experiences have shaped us, how we learn from that which is familiar and that feels safe, and the things that are unfamiliar or new to us can feel threatening or unsafe. And so there's this energy of one's tribe, one's people, and how we've learned from them, how we've been nurtured by them, and how we've been nourished by them. It is these past experiences which allows us to make decisions and to understand literally how we feel about something. When we bump up against something familiar or something of resonance, there's this feeling of love or joy or pleasure. And when there's some dissonance or unfamiliarity, on one hand, it could bring up feelings of excitement and adventure. And it could be, on the other hand, feelings of threat or, like I said, being unsafe or unsure. of doubt. So this is all about the sign of Cancer, and we're just beginning it on June 21st. So I'll be back again for the Capricorn full moon and the Cancer new moon later in the month here. But it really is learning about stabilizing in oneself, in one's shell, and finding that sense of safety within, feeling sensation, being able to defend oneself with one's claws or the jaws of the snapping turtle. It's really coming into a sense of this high sun then. So there's this part of this feeling oneself, like this is me, as I bump into new experiences and new people and their experiences, how I feel about that, how I make decisions that reflect how I identify with that or don't identify with something. There is this celebration then of feeling and being into, again, one's shell, but like experiencing life, going into the water of emotion, coming back out. Both the crab and the turtle go into and out of the water. So having the sense of intuition and immersion into water, emotions, resonance, the vibes of those who are around you, the vibes you're creating around yourself, and then removing yourself from that, reflecting like the moon reflects, and the moon rules Cancer. This time of the high sun in the summer, this full moon of the year here in the northern hemisphere, and the new moon of the year in the southern hemisphere, but both of which are about light, both of which are about life. We're at the height of it here. And of course, really the growing season here in the upper Midwest is just beginning. So we're really beginning summer, and the growth of the plants and the crops are all, just starting, and the light of the sun is warming them and drawing them upwards. So this is a sense of this cycle of the season, right? The cycles of the seasons, the cycles of days and nights, the cycles of the years, the cycles of our individual selves and our cycles within our bodies, the sleep cycles, the cycles of consciousness and awareness, the states of sleeping and dreaming and meditation. So all of these fluctuations within our cycles ruled by the moon, which rules Cancer. So this time of being aware of ourselves as these containers, in a way, containers of consciousness, containers of feelings and opinions and personalities, all of those things shaped by the experiences we've had from our families or familiar aspects or from our tribes, and evaluating always these patterns that we have, and being thankful for all the patterns that we have, knowing which patterns to keep, knowing which patterns and habits to release, and really allowing the height of the sun, this day of full sunlight, this time of so much light, to open up and give us this pause with all of this sunlight to reflect, to look within, to have everything illuminated as much as possible. All right. Celebrating the potential for growth that we all have. And as we bump up against those different people and these different experiences, as we know, just allowing ourselves to stay in reflective mode and not just reflexive, not just reacting to someone else and their energy, their creation, but just knowing that, every soul that's here is having their experience, and we hope that everyone is doing the best they can. I think as one of my former Cancerian teachers did say, if they could do better, they would, to remind ourselves that we are doing the best we can, hopefully, and again, taking that look in the mirror, taking the time to reflect and see, are we doing the best we can do? Because we do have control over that. I do have control over if I can do better. I don't have control over if anyone else can do better. None of us do, right? So stepping back and just seeing every experience as a celebration and maybe a prayer that everyone is doing the best they can do at this time. So at this time, the sun, it's just a few days after the Gemini new moon that occurred on Saturday here, the 17th. And so the sun is still in the area of the heavens of Mrig Ashir Shah, the deer face, the deer head. So that energy of searching and grazing and experiencing. The deity of this area of the heavens is Soma, and Somaya is another name for the moon, Chandra or Somaya. And Soma means, again, liquid or juice or nectar. It's the liquid within the plants that holds the nourishment and the nutrients. And Soma, of course, is the lunar principle of water. So just looking around right now, it's rather dry. So along the areas of my plants I've watered, they look nourished and they look vibrant and they look full of sap and liquid. And hopefully we'll get some rain. And so the rest doesn't get too dry around here. But especially being in the upper Midwest and the huge farming community, the need for moisture and rain is so tied in with the well-being of our community. And I could say that pretty much globally, right? So just growing up here, that was always really a big concern and a big conversation in the Midwest. So, getting the nourishment, getting the moisture necessary for life, along with the beautiful heat of the sun, them working together to bring balance and beauty into the garden. At this time, Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, the opposite sign of Cancer, and the ruler of the winter solstice, Saturn is in Pisces, and it went retrograde on Sunday, the day after the new moon. It was stationed retrograde on the new moon and went retrograde the next day, and it will be retrograde until November 4th of this year. So it just went into Pisces March 8th, in there for a few months, and then stepping back. So the god of form, the god of bones and skin and structure and time and mass and density and rules and shape is in the sign of Pisces, which is the sign of formlessness. I am of the Saturn in Pisces generation, and so I'm gathering there should still be some people in their 90s who are, hopefully many of them still around, who have a similar placement, people in their late 20s have that placement, and the kids born now have that placement. And so it really, again, we each, with that signature, are kind of carrying that energy of form in formlessness, formlessness in form. So I guess I just realized, like, I just gave myself a huge pass. Like, it's good. I just don't understand anything because I'm just all this formlessness trying to be in a body, right? But at any rate, this gives us this opportunity to see things a little differently. You know, this whole experience for everyone in general really is this formlessness, this sense of, I mean, for what I believe, a spirit, a soul, you know, in this human, wonderful being that each of us are, and experiencing the limitations of time and space and mass and, you know, actual physical things that we butt up against in our daily life, and making things work in that way. But at the same time, you know, knowing that we're so much beyond the form, and as is everything else. So this sense of comprehending or grasping the moreness of it all. Saturn is in the area of the heavens known as Shatabishak. And Shata means 100 or a large number. And Bhishak is healer or cure. It's ruled by the deity Varuna, the god of the night sky, who is inseparable with Mitra, the companion, who is the god of the daytime sky. And I'm just mentioning that because one of my favorite mantras is Om Shrim Mitraya Namaha. And its use is to harmonize relationship discord or misunderstanding by returning to the connection that precedes and transcends any particular embodiment. And I will again cite my materials at the information below this video. But so the Saturn got a form in the sign of Pisces, formlessness, in that area of the heavens, Shatabishak, 100 or a large number of cures or healing, ruled by the god of the night sky. So I pulled up from DiCara's book, and I will have a link below, his sign, symbol is empty or dark circle. And so I'm like, well, that's interesting. I mean, again, this just happens to be for this solstice, right? Saturn, I mean, Saturn's in this sign for this solstice, summer solstice. So that's why I'm tying this in. Otherwise, this may not come up at this time. And of course, when I see that, I think of Black Hole Sun, the sun, Soundgarden song. And I also think of the movie, is it Everywhere, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, with the black portal there. And so I'm kind of like, okay, why? What are you all doing with these symbols, people, right? Because in and of themselves, they're wonderful signs and symbols, and we use them to gain understanding and this sense of moreness of our world. But then when you see them used in popular culture, in movies and music and television, it always brings the idea in, and I have no beef with the movie. There are some interesting symbols in there, I will say, and I have liked Soundgarden, but I went back and watched that video, and it's very interesting. And then another thing that kind of connects into it that I've watched recently, and just again, this feeling, so this heavy, empty or dark circle. symbolized by this. Let me talk about the original symbolism of it, and then why are people using this symbolism in other means, right? So we have the night sky and the day sky, and again, that's a cycle, right? And then of course, the god of the night sky kind of gets a bad rap because he steals the sun, and brings us into darkness, right? But darkness is there for us to go within, to be quiet, to be reflective, to regenerate, to nourish ourselves like the deep well, right? There's not a lot of light in the bottom of a well. The well is filled with water. It's dark, and from that darkness, we draw up water and energy, and we nourish ourselves with it. Okay, so I'm just going to go through. I should have highlighted before I brought this up, but so Varuna, the god of the night sky, is connected to sunset and the west. So Shadabishak is a star of aeronautics and other atmospheric endeavors. It is the star of Western civilization and plays a significant role in the concomitant technological development of humanity. So there's a lot of Aquarius overtones with that, right? Okay. So Varuna brings the sun into darkness, so kind of considered a demon because of that. Okay. The lower half of the universe, the dark half. Varuna has dominion over the underworlds. He is to the underworld what Indra, the god of lightning bolt, is to the heavens. Shadabishak promotes counterculturalism and underground movements and social groups. So in Vedic cosmology, and this is from DiCara's book, a cosmic ocean is said to exist in the lower half of the universal sphere. Varuna's dominion over the underworld therefore also gives him dominion over water. And he also becomes famous as the god of waters. In the Gita, Krishna indicates that Varuna is the foremost of all beings that dwell in the water. Among water dwellers, I am Varuna. But more precisely, he's the husband of the waters as Varuni. His wife is the actual goddess. He also rules, so the stars, okay, since he is the god of the night sky, the stars provide the light by which he sees. The stars are therefore said to be his eyes. There are more stars in Shadabishak, hundreds, than any other segment of the heavens. Through these stars, Varuna watches the hidden affairs of humans and arrests the duplicitous and deceitful in his divine noose. Shadabishak is a star of justice and fair treatment, punishing whomever deserves punishment without consideration of their status. It is therefore a source of revolutionary movements and liberal forces in human society. I just thought it was interesting too that they did mention the divine noose and Soundgarden, Pretty Noose, their song Pretty Noose, and then the way that Chris Cornell passed from this world. So it's kind of interesting tie-ins. But I want to stick to the symbolism. So the dark sun, Varuna, as an Ashura, which is a demon. He is one of the children of Aditi, and therefore represents a form of the sun. The dark sun, the midnight sun, a dark and empty circle. So it is just one of all the faces of the sun, this area of the heavens. Okay, and at this time, where Saturn is in the sky, in that area of heaven, and Saturn is forming a trine to the solstice sun, a nice energy between the high light sun and an emissary from the segment of the heavens ruled by the dark sun. So let's take this into the energy of where we'd like to go with this, not where we're being led by movies or music or manipulation, by, I would say, irresponsible use of symbols, manipulative use of symbols, and just going into the potentiality of this time as humans, as people with our own minds and our own hearts and our own roots and our own families and our own experiences, all of which are valid as we move through this beautiful garden of God, right? So at this time, looking to the energy of the dark night, the reflective possibilities of the darkness, the nourishing waters of the darkness, of that well, of the ability to dig deep within ourselves and to create that nourishment, and connecting that to the sun above us, the sun which shines for all, the dark skies of night which shine and cool for all, which twinkle with all the stars, the light above, the light below, the light within, and the light without. So I kind of took a little dark turn, but I want to bring that back to just reminding all of us, because I will share this with you. It kind of took me a couple of people I listen to kind of get me out of a little funk recently. So that's why I'm saying that there's this energy of this dark sun, but not the nourishing aspect out of it, not the regenerative, not the waters, the cosmic waters that we draw from, but just the dark sun and the kind of nihilistic energy of that, and hopelessness and powerlessness, and these images that are kind of brought to us and brought into our psyches, instead of reminding us that we're all creators, reminding myself that I'm a creator, and we're here to experience and to celebrate and to love life and to find joy and to be imaginative, the Cancerian trait, intuition and imagination and children and play, and those hours when you were a young person that you'd have outside in the summer, maybe even being bored. What lovely thought would that be? So bored that you think of something amazing to do, something fun, something you hadn't thought of before. So there I go. That's my speechifying for this event. But I just want to invite all of us to celebrate life. Celebrate life within yourself and see life within everyone else and everything else. Even when it feels dark, look at that person, look at that situation, even if it's 180 degrees away, even if it's the night sky to the day sky to you. Even if that viewpoint is bumping up against you and it's feeling dissonant and really unpleasant, you don't have to stay in it. It doesn't have to be your reality. It doesn't have to be anything you even agree with or believe in. But you can bless that by sending love or just understanding or compassion or detachment, and let whomever else celebrate their life in the way that they choose. Because this is an amazing garden, and we all have our choices. Every moment, every breath, every thought, every word. Until next time.